From now on, I'll take care of our son, so you're no longer needed. While I was hospitalized, my beloved home was slowly being taken over by my mother-in-law. Faced with her one-sided claims, I anxiously looked to my husband for support. However, his cold gaze told me all I needed to know before he even spoke. Of course it's for the best. This is my and my mom's house. You're no longer needed, so get out. Crushed by my mama's boy-husband's words, I felt my spirit break. Fine, if I'm no longer needed, I'll leave, I said, resigned to leaving my own home. But this would mark the beginning of my husband's downfall. Fueled by a desire for revenge, my heart burned with resolve. I am Maria, currently 49 years old. I live with my high-earning husband, William, but I've continued working instead of quitting. We met again at a high school reunion 10 years after graduation. William, more mature and suave than in high school, seemed incredibly attractive to me. After exchanging contacts somewhat naturally, we went on several dates and got married after 2 years of dating. My husband is quite capable at work. He changed jobs from the company he was with when we first started dating. William climbed the corporate ladder at a young age, reaching an executive position at a multinational finance company. Not content with just that, he also serves on the boards of about 2 other companies, pushing his annual income to well over $2 million. Though I could live comfortably on William's income, I chose to keep working at a design company. I find staying at home too confining. It's been 20 years since I married my husband. I believe our marriage is the envy of our friends from the same generation. However, the longer you're with someone, the more you notice their flaws. William, once a gentleman who led me, now seems self-centered and domineering, typical of men in their 40s. Although I'm no beauty queen, we had a stable relationship for better or worse. In times like these, I'm grateful for my job. The workload helps me forget his unpleasant side, and I love my job, which also serves as my stress reliever. Recognized for my long-standing dedication, I now lead a team at my company. The job involves lots of overtime and even monthly international trips for competitions. I pride myself on my strong sense of responsibility, which is why I feel fulfilled in my current position. I sense that my subordinates admire and respect me. However, this also sometimes pushes me to my limits. Lately, I just can't seem to shake off this tiredness. You okay? At least take care of yourself properly, William said dismissively, causing my blood to boil. On top of my headache, I'm fine. This is nothing, I replied stubbornly. Both of us take pride in our careers and hate being criticized about our work. His snide comments only make me more defiant. Usually I take a day off for some physical therapy, but this time my stubbornness got the better of me. As a result, I collapsed at work and had to be rushed to the hospital by ambulance. Maria, are you okay? Hearing the panicked voice of my subordinate as the last sound, I felt regret as my consciousness faded away. This regret was just the beginning of an unexpected turn of events. When I woke up, the first thing I saw was a stark white ceiling. The bed was made with clean sheets, and beside the window, there was a vase adorned with a bouquet of colorful flowers. Realizing I was in a hospital didn't take long, and I let out a deep sigh. This is the worst. I've caused trouble for everyone. I tried to organize my schedule in my head and searched for the nurse call button, likely beside my pillow. "Excuse me, I've woken up," I said to the nurse. After a short wait, a nurse arrived in a hurry, accompanied by a doctor. The doctor asked me several questions about how I was feeling, and I answered them smoothly. "The direct cause of your collapse is probably overwork. However, is there another cause?" the doctor asked. I was aware that I had been feeling tired, and it wasn't surprising to hear I collapsed from overwork. But the doctor, flipping through my chart, looked resolved as he informed me, "There's a possibility you have a tumor. We can't say for sure without further tests, so would you be able to stay in the hospital for a while?" It felt like a blow to the head. The doctor's words went in one ear and out the other. I could hear them, but they made no sense, and I was stunned. "Don't worry, Maria. We'll conduct thorough tests and start treatment. For now, just rest and regain your strength." "Yes, okay, I understand," I replied weakly, my hands trembling as I clutched my smartphone. The first person I called was my husband, William. "Honey, I collapsed from overwork, but they say I need more tests for something else." "I see. So you'll be staying in the hospital for a while then. Got it. Wait just a minute. I'm not done." I had conveyed all the necessary information, but my husband responded briefly and unilaterally ended the call. A sigh escaped me as I heard the beep of the disconnected call. I wanted to ask him to bring some night clothes and other necessities, but I figured it was probably hopeless to expect that. The news of my health condition had already made me anxious, and his lack of concern was hard to bear. Wiping away the tears that had gathered at the corners of my eyes, I decided to contact a colleague from work. An old friend and colleague brought everything I needed to the hospital after finally managing my packed schedule. I sank into the clean hospital bed, facing my anxieties about the future. The doctor explained the detailed schedule for my tests and discussed possible diagnosis with me. If it turned out to be a malignant tumor, early detection meant it could be treated with surgery or medication. Despite my worries, the kindness of the people around me was overwhelming. By the second day of my hospital stay, my room was overflowing with gifts and bouquets. From the day I was admitted, colleagues, subordinates, and even business partners had come to visit. It's amazing. I've never seen a private room so full of get-well gifts. I'm so grateful. I never realized people cared about me this much. Illness is partly mental, so let's turn everyone's well wishes into strength and keep fighting, I reflected. The attending doctor came to check on me almost daily and always offered such encouraging words. In contrast, my husband hadn't even called, let alone visited. I understood he was busy with work, but a simple call to check on me would have been nice. As the years passed, my love for him had faded, and all I could do was sigh in sadness. 2 months into my hospital stay, I began intensive treatment for the tumor, battling the side effects of the medication. Despite suffering from headaches and nausea, the constant visits from my work colleagues were uplifting. Amidst all this, there was a time when I tried calling my husband just once. It was 9:00 p.m., a time when his work would likely have been finished. After a few rings, his deep voice answered from the other end of the phone. "What's this? Calling at such a time?" "I just wanted to see how things were on your end." "Nothing's changed." "Is that so?" I was foolish to hope he might ask, "Are you okay?" William's responses were mechanical, like he wanted to end the call immediately. Then I heard an unfamiliar voice on the other end of the phone. "William, who's calling at this hour?" I asked. "It's Maria." William's voice sounded distant. "Is someone there with you?" William sighed in annoyance and answered, "It's just my mother. If there's nothing else, I'm going to hang up." As usual, the call was abruptly ended. The impersonal tone of the disconnected call made my heart ache even more. What used to be an enviable marriage had now become nothing more than a cohabitation in form only. Despite my desire to recover from my illness, the thought of returning to that cold marriage was frightening. Why did it come to this? Fortunately, as my hospital stay reached half a year, my condition had almost stabilized. "From now on, we'll monitor your condition with regular visits. If there's no recurrence, you can be considered nearly cured. But don't let your guard down. Be mindful of your diet and don't overwork," my doctor scolded gently. "Thank you so much for everything. Just make sure not to push yourself too hard." I expressed deep gratitude for the care I had received. "Absolutely," the doctor emphasized, and I nodded with a relieved smile. Several times, of course, William wasn't at the hospital entrance. It was my sister Iris who came. "Are you going to take a break from work for a while?" she asked. "Yeah, I'll take the rest of this month off and then gradually start working from home." "That's good. Just like the doctor said, don't push yourself too hard." "You worry too much, sis. I'll be fine," my sister said the same, and all I could do was give a tired smile in response. My sister's car pulled up in front of the house. The get-well gifts had already been delivered, and I only had a small duffel bag with me. Feeling like I was returning from a short trip, I waved goodbye to Iris. Well, he's probably not back yet anyway. It was just before noon, and the house was likely empty. Typical of William, he wouldn't have done any housework while I was away and probably ate out for meals. Imagining the dusty state of the house, I sighed again. Using the key I hadn't used in a while, I opened the front door and immediately felt something was off. Our house, while not minimalist, had few belongings. We avoided clutter like ornaments and photo frames, finding that storing them on our smartphones was sufficient. We managed our schedule online, so there was no need for calendars, and the walls were adorned with only a favorite art panel. But now, there were more than 5 pairs of women's shoes scattered at the entrance, and several unidentifiable cardboard boxes lay haphazardly in front of the shoe cabinet. "What's all this?" I muttered in panic. I rushed to the living room without even bothering to arrange my shoes. I could hear the TV and the voices of a man and a woman from the living room. Despite being overwhelmed with fear due to the unknown situation, I couldn't stop my advancing footsteps. I opened the door to the living room with a loud click, and there were my husband William and my mother-in-law. "Oh, you're back," said my mother-in-law with cold eyes. "Why are you here, and shouldn't William be at work?" "I took the day off because Mom wanted to go shopping. Was today your charge day, William?" My mother-in-law and William, sitting side by side on the sofa, glanced at me disinterestedly. The living room was overflowing with strange decorations, old-fashioned floral curtains, a tall houseplant, and piles of magazines on the floor. The kitchen, which should have been equipped with silicone kitchen tools, now had utensils and dishes I'd only seen at my in-laws, including items I couldn't imagine when we used them. What's going on here? As I looked around, the house had changed so much in the past 6 months that I felt dizzy. My mother-in-law spoke mockingly amidst my confusion. "What do you mean? Now it's me and William living here. This is mine and William's house." Her words made no sense to me. William turned his mocking gaze to me. "Frozen in shock, Mom has been taking care of everything in the house, covering your inadequacies. You should be grateful." Despite everything, I had been hospitalized for treatment after falling ill, not due to any shortcomings on my part. My anger at my husband, who showed no concern, continued to build. "You really are a terrible wife for abandoning the house for half a year." "I didn't abandon it. I was hospitalized. You never even visited me," I retorted strongly, only for my mother-in-law to snap back with a red face. "How dare you say that? William has been working hard every day and you were just lying in the hospital. I didn't choose to be hospitalized. Basic self-care is essential for an adult. Why should I sympathize with your poor health habits?" "That's right. You should be supporting your husband. Aren't you his wife?" Thinking back, she had always been like this since the beginning of our marriage. My mother-in-law, a stay-at-home wife supported by her husband in management for nearly 40 years, took pride in being a housewife and saw me, who continued to work after marriage, as an adversary. "Isn't it a woman's role to look after the home, William? Well, I earn enough, and if necessary, I can make Maria quit her job. Mom," my father-in-law was a passive husband who showed no interest in home affairs and left everything, including child-rearing, to my mother-in-law. As a result, she doted on her only son, William, who became overly attached to his indulgent mother. This intensified after my father-in-law passed away 5 years ago. William stayed at his parents' house 3 nights a week, and was in daily contact with his mother. I was always worried. That's why I was against this marriage. I'm sorry, Mom, if I had listened to you. Even as I stood there in shock, the two of them continued to speak as they pleased. I've reached my limit. Enough. Why is my mother-in-law living here in the first place? I yelled, confronting their twisted display of parent-child affection. This is our house. I never agreed to live together, I declared firmly. The atmosphere froze for a moment. William's face turned red with anger, and my mother-in-law also flushed with rage. How ungrateful. Who do you think has been supporting this household? This is my son's house. And while you were in the hospital, I was the one supporting him. That's right. You haven't fulfilled a single duty as a wife. Right now it's me and William living here. From now on, I'll take care of our son, so you're no longer needed. You really are a terrible wife for abandoning the house for half a year. I didn't abandon it. I was hospitalized. You never even visited me. I retorted strongly, only for my mother-in-law to snap back with a red face. How dare you say that? William has been working hard every day, and you were just lying in the hospital. I didn't choose to be hospitalized. Basic self-care is essential for an adult. Why should I sympathize with your poor health habits? That's right. You should be supporting your husband. Aren't you his wife? Thinking back, she had always been like this since the beginning of our marriage. My mother-in-law, a stay-at-home wife, supported by her husband in management for nearly 40 years, took pride in being a housewife and saw me, who continued to work after marriage, as an adversary. Isn't it a woman's role to look after the home, William? Well, I earn enough, and if necessary, I can make Maria quit her job. Mom, my father-in-law was a passive husband who showed no interest in home affairs and left everything, including child-rearing, to my mother-in-law. As a result, she doted on her only son, William, who became overly attached to his indulgent mother. This intensified after my father-in-law passed away 5 years ago. William stayed at his parents' house 3 nights a week and was in daily contact with his mother. I was always worried. That's why I was against this marriage. I'm sorry, Mom, if I had listened to you. Even as I stood there in shock, the two of them continued to speak as they pleased. I've reached my limit. Enough. Why is my mother-in-law living here in the first place? I yelled, confronting their twisted display of parent-child affection. This is our house. I never agreed to live together, I declared firmly. The atmosphere froze for a moment. William's face turned red with anger, and my mother-in-law also flushed with rage. How ungrateful. Who do you think has been supporting this household? This is my son's house, and while you were in the hospital, I was the one supporting him. That's right. You haven't fulfilled a single duty as a wife. Right now it's me and William living here. From now on, I'll take care of our son, so you're no longer needed. How can you say that, William? Are you really okay with this? I looked at my husband in desperation, hoping for some support against the one-sided accusations. So I often stayed over at her place in her familiar apartment. Sitting on the sofa, I confided everything to Iris, being kicked out of the house right after my discharge, and the terrible things my husband had said and done up until now. As the story progressed, Iris's expression grew stern, and by the end, she was shaking with anger. What awful people, Maria. Let me give them a piece of my mind. It's okay. I don't want anything to do with them anymore. Seeing my sister angrier than myself somehow calmed me down. I soothed her, who looked ready to storm out barefoot, and shared my plan for what to do next. You're a formidable woman, my sister Iris said with a smile, and I was surprised. That's right. I'm capable and earn enough to live on my own. I don't need to be afraid or hurt by those two anymore. You know, I'm actually quite smart and resourceful. I feel silly for worrying so much. Thanks to my sister, I felt even more composed. Thinking about my future plans, I couldn't help but smile. 3 months later, when I had returned to work and was busy in my office as usual, my smartphone began to ring insistently. I looked up from the documents and saw the screen. Quicker than expected, it was William's name as the caller ID. It had been a while since we last spoke, but I answered the phone as if nothing was amiss. "Hello. Yes, hey, what's going on?" "A real estate agent is at the house." "Oh, is that so?" I replied in a detached tone, which seemed to take William aback, causing him to stumble over his words. "You must have called for a reason, right?" This was a line I often heard from him. "Don't talk to me unless you have something to say." It was probably one of the most frequent harsh remarks I had received. "Why do we have to leave the house?" William continued, his voice filled with panic. I decided it was time to confront him with the truth. "Remember when we first got married and I said I wanted a house? You told me you wouldn't contribute a single penny." Indeed, when we were building the house, William had no interest in it and refused to contribute financially. So I used my own savings to buy the house and took out a mortgage in my name. I had paid off that mortgage with my salary, making the house legally mine. "That house isn't yours, it's mine, so I can do whatever I want with it, right? You guys don't need a house bought by someone as useless as me," I said with as much sarcasm as I could muster, leaving William speechless. It seemed his beloved mother was also there as she snatched the phone from him and began berating me with spitting fury. "Enough. Why do you get to do whatever you want with this house? You must have leached off William's money to pay for it." "Ah, you must not know because you never took an interest in me. I'm currently the CEO of a design company, earning more than William does annually, but I kept quiet about it, thinking it might hurt his pride. I had steadily built my career at this design company, learned multiple languages to communicate with overseas clients, and my efforts and enthusiasm had led to my appointment as CEO 5 years ago. William, never showing interest in my career, had probably forgotten about it. And though he was a capable man earning $2 million a year, he was also a big spender, luxury cars he never drove, designer brand sleepwear, infamous for womanizing and drinking habits among our peers. Moreover, I was aware of his multiple affairs, which he thought he had kept hidden. William has been living quite extravagantly, and we're still legally married. Well, we'll probably have to discuss this further with lawyers. Wait just a minute? That's not fair, Maria. Just so you know, the house has already been sold. You might want to quickly pack up all those tacky items and leave. I could hear William's faint voice and his mother berating him in the background. "Wait, let's talk. Talk about this, Maria, please." Disregarding everything, I ended the call unilaterally. Hearing my pathetic husband's voice was oddly satisfying. Afterward, I successfully divorced him through a lawyer. I also made sure to receive substantial alimony payment for his verbal abuse towards me and for his past misconduct. Furthermore, his extravagant lifestyle and the stress from this incident led to multiple mistakes at work. In the competitive world of multinational corporations, incompetence quickly leads to dismissal. Consequently, William lost his job, further straining his finances. Meanwhile, I continued to stay at Iris's house, but I started noticing strange things. I felt like I was being followed when I returned home, and I received numerous prank calls from unknown numbers. I never expected them to go this far. Thankfully, there was no direct harm, but I knew it was only a matter of time. I hurried to consult with the police. They promised to increase patrols, and perhaps feeling the pressure, one night my ex-husband and ex-mother-in-law brazenly showed up at my sister's house. "It's all your fault my son got fired because of you. There's no job, no money left. It's all your fault, so you need to take responsibility." Apparently, my ex-husband, even with reduced income, continued his lavish lifestyle until his savings ran out, leading to his dismissal from all his jobs. I shielded my frightened sister and quickly contacted the nearest police station. The two were then taken to the police station. After that incident, I decided to leave my sister's house. Thinking it was just a place to sleep, I opted to live in a hotel for a while. I had an idea for a new place but wasn't quite ready to make a move yet, emotionally speaking. Then, a significant event finally brought my tumultuous 40s to a close. It happened one evening when I returned to the hotel exhausted from work. In the lobby, I saw two familiar figures. Finally found you. You're going to pay up today. Please don't make a scene. My ex-husband looked aged beyond his 40s, and I sighed deeply. His shirt was wrinkled, and his pants seemed unwashed for days. I hurriedly ushered the out-of-place pair into my hotel room. Enough already. You're causing a disturbance. That's my line. Because of you, our lives are a mess. My ex-mother-in-law, tears and snot streaming down her face, reached for my chest. I dodged just in time, and she fell to the floor. Their pitiful state was evident. They were driven to desperation. You don't mess with me. Give me back my money. Desperate people can exhibit surprising strength. I regretted letting them into my room, realizing too late my mistake. My ex-husband's frail arms grabbed my chest with unexpected force. Let go of me. I kicked a nearby trash can, making a loud noise in an attempt to resist. My ex-mother-in-law was cowering on the floor, and my enraged ex-husband was beside her. Just when I felt my life was in danger, the door burst open. "Are you okay?" A person, seemingly a janitor, yelled, wielding a mop like a weapon and advancing towards my ex-husband. "Stop, stop." Startled, my ex-husband released me and cowered on the floor. The hotel front desk had promptly called the police, and this time my ex-husband and ex-mother-in-law were taken into custody. Previously, they had been released with a stern warning, but this time they were officially charged. Already struggling to find a job, my prideful ex-husband now had a criminal record, making re-employment even more difficult. Eventually, I heard through the grapevine that they were living meagerly near a riverside. "What a tumultuous 40s that was," he said, cutting his steak elegantly in a softly illuminated restaurant. "It's surprising being almost 50 and all this happening, but it's really good that you didn't get seriously injured." His smiling gaze made me feel bashful, so I quickly sipped my red wine to hide it. Ever since my discharge, he had been my attending physician, and I've been in his care for many years. Thanks to him, there has been no recurrence of the tumor, and I've been living a peaceful life privately. We grew closer, and now we have settled into a relationship as lovers. Well, I doubt there will be any more drama like this, so I want to spend the rest of my life peacefully. Yeah, that sounds good. He finished his main course and slowly took a small box out of his breast pocket. Inside the box was a ring set with my birthstone. Will you give me your life to take care of from now on? I thought back to my lonely and joyless marriage. My job was my only solace, and I had pushed myself too hard because of it. I failed to see the true nature of people, causing a huge commotion that even involved my sister. Thank you. I'm so happy. The gem on my left ring finger was like a light shining on my life. My 40s were tough and full of scars, but now more happiness than ever before awaits me. Smiling at him, I felt excited about our future together.